Welcome to Bedroom Forensics. Today we are discussing a new law that came into effect in January 2021. Now, this new law means that prisoners will have a harder time getting parole if they refuse to say where their victims have been buried or identify those that they've abused. It pretty much covers murderers and paedophiles. Now, it's been named Helen's Law, and it's after insurance clerk Helen McCourt. She vanished in Billinge in Lancashire on her way home from work in 1988. On the fateful day of February 9th, 22-year-old Helen called her mum at 4 p.m. to ask if she could have dinner early, as she wanted to get ready to go out with her new boyfriend. She then left work, hopped on a bus, and got off at a stop that was less than 500 yards from her house. And it was around 5:30 when a man then later told police he'd heard a scream, but then nothing. Helen was declared missing, but her body never found. An investigation discovered that she'd been barred from a local pub, then named the George and Dragon, by its landlord, 31-year-old Ian Sims. Rumours flew around the village that Ian had claimed he hated Helen, that she'd spurned his sexual advances, and that she'd been gossiping about his mistress when he was married. And strangely, her route home that fateful night took her past that same pub. Police quickly looked into Ian Sims and impounded his car. When they searched it, they found tiny traces of Helen's blood on the rubber sill of the boot and a blood stain on the boot carpet. They also found one of Helen's earrings, a gift from her mum for her 21st birthday. In Sims' flat, which was above the pub, there was blood on the carpet at the foot of the stairs leading to his apartment, on a bedroom carpet in his flat, on wallpaper in the bedroom, and splashed on wallpaper next to the outside door. This fine mist spray on the outside door would suggest that this was the area where Helen was attacked first. Now, small traces of material that were found on the stairs leading to the apartment suggest that Helen was dragged up the stairs after being attacked. This spray, the blood, is not always clear to the eye, so when we have luminol, we will highlight the areas where the blood is. Fortunately, it showed that Helen suffered a sustained attack. Not long later, in March, Helen's handbag, coat, scarf, trousers, mittens and electrical flex were found about 20 miles away near a river. The bin liner that they were in proved to have been taken from a roll found at the pub, and the flex was similar to others at Sims' apartment. A hair on the flex was matched to Helen, and police suggest that this could have potentially been used to strangle her. Keeping all of these items into a single bin bag, even throwing it into a river, is where Sims had one of his downfalls. If anyone found that, then automatically they would be able to connect all the pieces. Why would he chuck it into a bin bag and then throw it away? Where do you think the river was going? Later on, a man in Warrington, which was further away, found blood-stained men's clothes that, eventually, Sims admitted they were his. Sims was arrested and put on trial, but he denied murder. He said that someone must have broke into his flat, stole his clothes, put them on, then randomly attacked Helen, dragged her back to Sims' apartment and murdered her, all without his knowledge. Then this same person used Sims' car to dispose of her body, then took all his clothes off and left them where they would be found, just to incriminate Sims. The DNA was overwhelming, and even without a body, the jury took no time to convict him. And that's rare in the UK, to convict someone without a body. This also rarity, this case was a first of its kind in the UK, as forensic scientists used blood samples from Helen's parents to compare with the blood that they found in the Sims apartment, on his clothes and in the boot of his car. The odds at the time were that out of many thousands to one, that the blood was not from a child of Helen's parents. Now, Sims did actually challenge this evidence 10 years later in 1999, but by then tech had improved and it was now 9 million to 1 that it wasn't her blood, so it definitely was Sims. He was given a life sentence with a maximum of 16 years, But he never revealed where he put her body and always said that he was innocent. Helen's mother, Marie McCourt, still tries to put pressure on the justice system and Sims to reveal the location of her daughter's body. But Helen hasn't been forgotten in her hometown, and a mass was held in 2013 on the 25th anniversary of her disappearance. And in December 2015, her mum Marie launched a campaign calling for a change in law that would prevent convicted murderers who refuse to reveal the location of bodies of victims from being released on parole. And this process was slow, but it was going through the bureaucratic process. And obviously we have a law now, but it didn't help because in March 2019, Sims was allowed out of prison on temporary release. This caused anger and distress for Marie. How could her daughter's killer be allowed to be free, especially when all his appeals had failed previously? Then the worst thing happened for her. On the 21st of November 2019, the parole board recommended Sims for release, finding that he had met the terms for release. Basically, that he'd done the time initially given to him. And in February 2020, the McCourt family tried to keep Sims in jail, but was refused by the High Court, and Sims has been allowed to roam free. The Prisoners Disclosure Information About Victims Act 2020 will now be known as Helen's Law, and it's finally been enacted, but maybe a little bit too late for Marie. Now, under this law, killers can still be released if they're no longer deemed a risk to the public, even if they do refuse to disclose information. That could be something like dementia or a medical history. But the parole board will be legally required to consider whether they have cooperated with inquiries as part of their assessment. Say if they buried a body on a housing development and they told police it was there and then the body wasn't there, that would suggest that they were trying to help with the inquiries. Human rights laws has prevented the UK from introducing a strict no body, no parole rule. And the government said that if they had, then they would have a lot of legal challenges in the courts. So, as with most laws, there are some amendments that could be used to the advantage of killers and paedophiles. But on the positive, the Helen Law's campaign group has said that after 5 years of campaigning, 750,000 signatures of support and many trips to Downing Street, countless meetings with MPs and ministers, Helen's Law was finally added to the statute book. A long time for this to come, and it's still a shame that Helen's body has never been recovered, meaning Marie will never be able to have a true funeral for her daughter. But there's still hope that killers like Ian Sims won't be allowed back on the streets, giving some small bit of peace to all the families of those victims. Until next time.